Hey everyone, Mark here from snowonly.com. I just wanted to send a bit of a video because we're getting a lot of inquiries between obviously Christmas and the beginning before people kind of go back to work. And based on all the evidence that we see on Snow Only and the copious amounts of people that we speak to, I thought I would kind of give everyone a bit of a guide to what I would do if I was buying a ski property in 2026. Now, I think everyone has their own desire for what they want to do. Some people want to buy a property that is slightly further away from the ski resort in order to get more size, a bit more value for money. Some people want to buy an older style chalet that is already built, but so I can't accommodate for everybody here. All I'm trying to say is this is what I would do if I was looking for a property that also kind of works as a bit of an investment. As we can see, the market is very, very active and property prices are going up. So I think if anyone is buying a property now, the main thing that we need to know is that you've pretty much missed the 25-26 season, because anyone that's buying a property now, by the time we go through due diligence, sign a reservation and hand over the property, it's going to be probably a minimum of 3 months anyway, which has taken us to April, which means you would have missed the ski season, which is why I wanted to put this video out, because the goal, obviously summer is an option, but the goal for a lot of people, as we can see by the increased activities, is to target next season. If you have enough patience, 27-28 season, but really it's the 26-27 season that kind of people are after. Now, what I would look for in a development is a developer with a proven track record of sales. Now, I'm typically speaking about developments that have kind of maybe pre-GFA, which will lend itself to a more 27-28 season. That's what I would probably do. But if you're a little bit keen and want to do 26-27 season, you likely would have missed the pre-GFA property. Typically, we're speaking France here, the pre-GFA property, because they would have started the build process anyway, because obviously they're targeting a handover in probably 11 months or so. But saying that, I think the same principles apply to all the people that are looking. I would look for a developer with a proven track record of sales. In my experience, I wouldn't go with anyone that doesn't have a proven track record of sales or developing, purely because you're paying for their learning curve. In my experience of being in real estate for the last 25 years, people start to really find their groove after maybe the second or third development about what they should have done on the first one. So I wouldn't buy into a first-time developer by any stretch of the imagination, but each to their own. This is only my advice. Ideally, pre-GFA certificate. The reason that I would do this is because there's little risk, in all honesty, only patience. If they don't apply for the GFA or don't get the GFA, you'll be able to get your deposit back anyway. The reason that you can obviously get the pre-GFA certificate, that you might be a little bit more negotiable on the price, because the developer wants to get to the GFA stage. So also they're the lowest prices that you are going to get. I'll talk about on the next point, but they are the lowest points you're going to get. So if you do have the patience, I would look into something like that. If it's post-GFA certificate, no problem. Obviously, you have the security, and there are a lot of benefits to it. So pre-GFA certificate is typically 15% lower than the sales at the end of the development, because obviously the developer is less keen to get the money in, and they can obviously move the prices forward because they've sold the majority of the development. So if you are getting into a development early, this is what I would suggest in terms of an investment process. The next one is the stage payments. I think this works for a lot of people that are buying, that you don't have to put all the money up front and then you can spread the payments for 12 to 18 months, which I think most people would prefer. This also allows you to get your ducks in order a little bit in terms of just putting down the reservation, and then maybe you want to do a mortgage at a later stage or whatever it is, or you have bonuses coming. And I think that just helps a little, helps with people maybe afford a little bit more, or just spread the costs rather than buying a resale apartment and having to pay everything up front. Next point, securing launch prices benefit from the increase in price post-GFA, which you just mentioned, and sales. So obviously, as the sales are moving forward, as I said before, the prices tend to go up. So buying anything at an early stage, also, it allows you to choose the best units for that development. So when you eventually, if you wanted to go to resell it at the end, then you would have chose the best units within that development, and they are typically the best units to sell anyway. So lots of benefits for getting in early to an off-plan property. What I would stick to, and I don't think this has ever changed, and as I said, we can't cater to everyone, but I would choose a genuine ski in, ski out property. I think these are the most desirable and essentially still what drives buyers' dreams and desires, is that genuine ski in, ski out property. It goes without saying now that with all the dual season activity and a heightened attention in the summer and in the winter, of course, that wellness facilities are, I would say the wellness facilities are very important in terms of reselling in the future. If you buy into a development that doesn't really have the wellness facilities, I would say it would be a lot harder in the future to sell, because I think any new development that's coming in the next 5 years will always have wellness facilities, because the way that skiing is adapting, it is becoming a little bit more less focus on the skiing and more focus on just the wellness of where the ski property is. So I would always buy into a property with wellness facilities. You always also have the VAT rebate, which is optional, which is great for France, that you can get a 20% reduction in the price if you enter into a rental pool. That goes without saying. I think 95% of people do it. And obviously limited units available in the development. I would stick to slightly smaller developments if I was looking at, rather than a huge development. The issue that you have with huge developments is it becomes quite difficult to sell it, because you are competing possibly against your neighbours in terms of the property. Why it's so important to buy into to get the best units in order to get the best value. I would stick to a development with limited units, maybe 15, or maybe I wouldn't even say that, maybe 10 to 20 units within the development in a unique location, ski in, ski out. I think that's what I would particularly stick to. So this is what I would kind of look for. And I think this works for all price ranges, whether you've got a 500,000 budget or whether you've got a 20 million budget. I think it all works for the same process. We just work in different markets for that. So this is the principles that I would stick to. It's very difficult for me to recommend particular resorts. Although I have my favorites, everyone has their own resorts that they particularly like, and I don't know everyone that I'm speaking to, so it's hard for me to really recommend. I would always stick with the flagship resorts, the resorts that people know the best, because that is always where the demand is. Places like Morzine, Chamonix, if we're looking at the top end, Meribel, Val Thorens, Les Arcs. We've just had a lot of inquiries today for Les Arcs and those kind of places. And I think the same principle works for Switzerland, Austria, and Italy as well. Although I'd say that they were less places that obviously have that kind of off-plan development. France seems to be the leader in that. So this is the principles that I would stick to, or I would look for. I think it lends itself to very good investment. I think it lends itself to stage payments, so ease of payments. I think it's always nice to move into a brand new property. I think this helps from the rental perspective as well, because obviously people like new materials and new properties when they're doing their rentals. So for me, this is the majority of the market of what they're looking for, and this is what I would look for. Hope that's helpful. Just before we go, I just want to remove this and add this to the stage. Just as a reminder, we have our 5-step guide to simplifying your ski property purchase. Please go onto the page on Snow Only. You can see at the top, a 5-step guide, and that basically downloads a PDF that just helps you with all the buying process and of what you need to do that runs parallel with your property in the background in order for you to purchase the property. So please go and download the 5-step guide. I hope that helps. Please follow us on YouTube and all social media. But this is my guide to if I was buying a property in 2026. And I do have a lot of data coming through Snow Only. So this is generally what people are looking for. If you are interested in asking and having a chat with me, please feel free to reach out, mark@snowonly.com, and we can have a discussion about particular developments in resorts. We have a lot on our website, and I'm happy to help anyone look for it. Apart from that, I hope you have a good new year, and I hope that helped. Thanks. Bye.